Okay. Hmm? Yeah. I'm still setting up and sending messages so that folks know that we'll start in 5 minutes. The class will start in 5 minutes. I'm just setting up the live stream, whatever, so that folks can also join. AJ, have you read this message in the group? Have you read this message in our group in the group just now? Read it. Read it. No, my slides are not ready. They were almost, but let me just work it out. If not, we'd have gone to get the team. We'll be fully on tomorrow. We'll be 100%. Let's do you want to monitor this from stay in church? No. Yes. Okay, people of God. This is serious DIY. Can we avoid the windows? Is it there we can avoid the windows?
Let me see. Shut it first.
No, don't shut the windows. Just put this either to the back there, either this or there. Maybe this, right there, this put here. That should avoid the windows. One of the errors I made was I checked our YouTube, what's it called? And the GPU to see it.
Sure.
Said yes. So I just assumed live stream the phone. And then we got to test it this morning. And we saw that the eligibility was just for the desktop. There was no cover for mobile. So we had to default going back to using the laptop to stream. But that's too far. They will not hear me. Oh.
I know. Come on.
Let's go that route now. I'm not even sure if it's touched. That thing is far. How can we move it closer? This, how can we get it to it close? Okay, you know what? Move this set of unused chairs. Move it forward and put it in the chair. Although that is not bad either. That makes my father different. Or maybe there, maybe the second one, so that I can completely avoid the windows. You know what? Okay, that set of chairs. Let's move it here and put the laptop just here. So it's like a student sitting in class and get a front row view of class. Has anybody joined in yet? How do you even know if somebody has joined? I think there's one person. Put that here. Yeah, I'll put the laptop. There you are.
If you have questions, that will get to.
They'll type the questions, so you should show up. Yeah. If you've joined, please introduce yourself. Okay, we'll get to that in a bit. Okay, so problem is I can't run my slides today. I'll find an alternative to this slide tomorrow. Okay, so that my slides and all of that. But I have only the laptop to do what I have to do. But we'll survive. Yeah. So let me see. How do we start? Is there any bachelor here? Is there any bachelor here? Either primary or secondary bachelor. There are just three men here now.
And that is no bachelor.
That means no bachelor, yeah? Okay. All right. So let me welcome us officially to producing and directing MasterClass. This is Lagos Film School. My name is Damola Adele. That's one. Okay, I'm the director of studies here at Lagos Film School. And I'm taking this particular set of courses. Um, Before we go on, let me make it clear. The producing class and the directing class are two separate classes. However, they have a lot of uh, overlap. Forgive me. Okay? Like, um, there's a lot of functions, activities, and all of that the producer does, and the director also works on. Which is the reason why our first two classes will be general classes that addresses everything the producer should know that the director should know. Thereafter, we split into the individual classes because normally the schedule should be for producing should be 9 to 12, yeah, and directing should be 12 to 3. Is that am I correct? Am I flipping it?
Yeah.
I think this is how it is here. This is how we set it out here. So this is the time schedule for the two courses. Lectures will run for I want to believe this thing records automatically. Yeah. Then the live stream records automatically. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Okay, no, no. There might be a setting that requires it for you to stay on your page, but you should have that feature. It should be automatic.
It should be.
It should be.
Yeah. Okay. It's if you want it to show on your page, that is where you set to have an extra setting.
I'll check it out.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so before we go on though, details of the class and all of that, I think introductions are in order. Some of you know me more than I know you, so let's be on the same page. My name again is Damola Adele. I'm a guy. I'm dark. I'm tall. Well, not as tall as Gideon, for example, and it's my own way. I talk small. Okay. All right. So where should we start from? Ladies first or men first? From the back or from the front? Wearing black or wearing red? All right. Let's start from the front. So just tell us your name and which of the courses you're taking.
Okay, my name is Jide Ali. I made for producing and directing class.
Are you Yoruba or white?
Yes, I'm Yoruba from Lagos State.
Oh, okay now. You don't have to stand up. I appreciate that you stood up. But you don't have to stand up to introduce yourself.
My name is Piers Mboke. I'm a Nollywood actor and uh, fitness trainer. I'm here for the production and directing course. But I'll start with the production
Are you a fitness trainer?
No, I'm a production person. I'm more into TV.
Into TV. That's what you do at the moment. But in what capacity do you function?
The capacity of the director.
Or you
Content director.
Content director. Then,
Yes,
yes.
yes. Mboke. Pierce. Yes.
Is it I or N? Your surname does start with an I or
MGBOK.
M G
BOK.
okay.
Yes.
I
Thank you.
write fiction and script.
Which of the classes are you?
What I'm looking to say
Good. Okay. Madam. Yes. Say that again. Yeah. And that's the one I wanted to say. Is it Igede or Igede? Igede. Well, I saw a video and it made a lot of sense. When most Nigerians, when they get outside of the country, they emphasize their names. They make it as pronounceable as possible.
Yes.
Yeah, and somebody was like, "Oh, you have to learn how to pronounce Beethoven. You have to learn how to pronounce all of these crazy Spanish, Italian, especially the Greek names
Russian,
and
Russian
the Jew
names.
and Russian names. So if I would stress myself to learn to pronounce your name, and you don't want to make an effort, my name is Ademila Komala. Oh yeah, break your teeth.
Yes. You have to
It's
learn
simple,
Yes.
simple. It's just simple
Or
concept.
help them by giving
If
them
I
a shot.
If I,
even their name, no, we do not pronounce it correctly.
we try, but at least we make an effort. You know, especially if it's in an academic setting. Schrodinger, you might be pronouncing wrong, but the day somebody corrects you, you pick up. Uh-huh. All right. So, which is because I have a friend. Well, we've not spoken in a while. You know that kind of friend that you speak just once in 6 months or once in 2 years. You know, say that be your friend. You did here. You two.
Or do your own thing.
Exactly. So, when we were in school, I was the one who kept helping people know how to pronounce his name. This is the spelling. How do you pronounce this?
Or just
Polo.
Yes.
Shade?
Yes.
Where is it from?
Ishan.
Okay, then Bolo.
Ojeseo. And it does not even look like the spelling at all. Ojeseo.
That's
That's the correct pronunciation.
so these ones are silent.
But I took my time to learn to pronounce his name correctly. Okay, so when I meet someone and their name sound a little, it might take a while because me, I'm very good at forgetting names. It's my superpower. Forgetting names is my superpower. But remembering faces, that's what I'm good at. But names, forget it. So I tend to ask again and again and again until it sticks. Just a minute. I'll tend to have calls like this, especially on the first day. Hello. Yes, good morning. Yeah, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. And some construction guys, yeah. There are two schools in the building. You're in the right place. Come upstairs. You're coming to the topmost floor. Yeah. So even me, I'm a little prepared. I wouldn't tell anybody, but the first day of class is always like this, slow to start, people walking. One, you still have somebody who will still be coming in at 1 p.m. today. Okay, so we find a way to accommodate for all of that. But by day two, we get into serious business. Okay, so who have we not met? Either ways, introduce yourself. Either ways.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
My name is AJ. I'm from Imo State. This conference region. I'm here for
She said, what did you say?
I'm
Okay. Let's just do as if you did not hear what she said for video editing and cinematography. Um, their course, their class wrapped up yesterday, Friday, but they have one or two more classes that will be after our own class. So she missed two. She assumed that they were going to have classes today. But you're welcome. Except you're in a hurry to go somewhere. If not,
Sorry,
then drop.
can I ask a question?
Yes,
As you came to learn of this one, maybe inclusive of video editing
okay.
or content creation and
Content creation. Sorry. Sorry, we'll get to that. Okay. Not like in the course of the class, but then we'll talk about
Yeah,
it and we'll see how we feel this into this.
yeah.
Okay, so if you've joined the online zero, there was one person, now it's 0 persons. It will make us as men not find the person who's coming. That's what men do. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So while we're at it, that's true. You're the only new face in this class. Wasn't quite so that.
Myself?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he's a new face, but he's not a new person. All right. So we have a script writing class running right now online, and some of those who are here were in the script writing class, and they decided to take this
I
class
was
also.
working.
Yeah. Ben is taking the video editing and cinematography class. He wants to be like an all-round, produce, write, shoot, edit,
Okay.
and all of that. Yeah. So
I think we discussed that.
okay. So today my goal is simple. Yeah, this is what we're doing today. Film education. By the end of today, I want you to know film inside out. And when I say film, good morning. When I say film, I don't mean that's yeah. What's the name, please? Alexander. Oh, you are the Alexander. How's your surname pronounced? Yeah. Okay. Nice. I think the problem started when we tried writing our names in English. Do you know what we write is essentially English? What we do is we try to write Yoruba in English, write Isha in English, write Igbo in English. It's the reason why some of the pronunciations and the spelling sometimes don't time.
Okay.
Like I went to look at his name and then I asked for the pronunciation.
You're right.
Ah, God is on the throne. Oh, you're welcome. It's good to have you. So, which of the classes are you taking? Director. Okay. So, back to what I was saying. Today, my goal is on film education. For two reasons. Number one, I think one of the key problems with Nollywood, aside some of the things we've discussed, and we will discuss that in the larger class, the other half of the evil in Nollywood is film education. So most people know only their own corner. they stay there only, and they function there only. And you can do that and get by. Maybe if you're an editor, you can get by. Maybe if you're a cinematographer, maybe. Or you cannot be a producer or a director and get by only being in your corner. You know why? You are supposed to control the field. But the only thing you know is one corner of the pitch. Am I any problem? Okay. So your first, before you even learn anything at all about your own specific area of filmmaking, the first goal should be that you should have a broad understanding and knowledge and have a firm grasp of the industry as a whole. How the film even starts. It might sound like, so which one assign that one? I want direct film. You are asking me how the film starts. Have you heard about the river that forgot its source? Exactly. There's something about knowing why you do what you do, knowing how this came about, and finding your place in the giant picture. There's just something about it versus you're just aimlessly doing. Okay? For example, let me take a bit talk. So, this statement, do you agree with it or not? That nobody can tell African stories like Africans. Do you agree with that statement? Yes.
I agree with you.
Beautiful. I agree with it 100%. Because every time a white man comes to tell your story, there's something missing, there's something out there. Yes, I agree. And you experience the culture, you know what you do, beautiful. However, how do you want to tell the story? What vehicle do you want to use to tell the story? For example, as it concerns telling narratives, there are three main vehicles we use to tell narratives. One is novels, two is theater or stage, and three is films. Fine, let's say film slash TV. Although TV, though very, very much film, is those of you who are online, number one, can you hear me? Please indicate, just type in the chat if you can hear me so I'll know if I'm communicating. And secondly, please introduce yourself. How do I know? Okay. All right. Okay. Please. Okay, I can hear you loud and clear. Okay. All right. All right. Welcome, Pastor Chris. Good morning. All right. So these are the three main vehicles for telling narratives. And the strange thing is this, yeah, for practitioners of stage and those who write novels, they understand that there is a specific format for telling stories through these mediums. For example, there are established schools of theater, true or false, where you have to go learn the dictates of that medium so that you can properly tell your stories using that medium. Same for novels, literary schools. Yeah, the problem is here. Where folks think there is no format, there is no standard, you just jump in, do what you like. And that's how we got to where we are. Remember where we started from this. Is it true that nobody can tell African stories better than Africans? The answer is yes. Yeah. If you're writing a novel and you're telling African stories, like the Chimamanda Adichie, she wrote the novel the way novels are written is why she won an international award. Yes or yes? There's a certain way books are written. There's a certain way novels are written, and she stuck to that format. Is how she could get internationally acclaimed and recognized. Do you know the problem with Nigerian films? We think you can just jump in and do anyhow, and the world must recognize you because you're telling African stories. They play. They play.
Sorry, I want to cut you short.
Yeah.
What is wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Everything.
Why don't we sell university? Why don't we sell Africa? Why don't we sell our stories now? Why don't we sell our mode our mode of telling stories? Why don't we
We
sell?
can't. Do you know why?
Why can't we?
Good.
That's my question.
All right. So the same way, the logic is simple. If you want to write novels, there's a standard way to write novels. You don't put epilogue at the beginning and put prologue at the end. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay. If you're doing stage, there's a way you do stage. Okay. For example, novels is based on description. Description is a broad line of novels. The level to which you can describe vividly and the reader can picture is what determines if you're a good novelist or not. For stage, stage is carried on in dialogue. Almost everything is carried on by the dialogue, supported by things like dance and music and all of that. Yeah. But the main channel of what's it called? Communicating in stage is dialogue. Okay, how about film? Does it have a mode of communication? Are there specific ways we communicate? Instead of us negotiating and say, can't we? The question we should ask is, so how do we? Do you get it? The question is, how do we communicate in film? Not can't we use film? You don't do that with novels. You don't do that with stage. Don't come and try that with film. Film has its own language. You want people to listen and hear you, speak the language of film. By the way, let me drop it here. Film is not an African concept. Masquerades are an African concept. And you see why people come to Nigeria, come to different places in Africa to study what we do with masquerades. Same with incision marks. Some people would start being like they just want to be funny and they'll say tattoos and incision marks are the same. They are not. A tattoo is not an incision mark. It's the reason why it still comes to study incision marks. If it was the same tattoo, they don't need to come here to come and study tattoo. They are the masters of tattooing. I don't know if I'm making some sense. So if you talk about incision marks, that's an African concept. You can use that as a storytelling tool. You can do that anyhow you want. But you see, film is not an African concept. If you want to use that vehicle to tell your story, then the only way to go about it is to study film, the way film ought to be made, and now use that as a vehicle the way you want, but master the vehicle. For example, you can't put 3 tires on a car and say you're traveling to Abuja. Somebody might not arrive. True or false? Because the way a car is made is it should have 4 tires. In fact, have a 5th one as an extra in the booth. Are we all on the same page now? So I am not against telling African stories. We should. I'm not against brandishing and promoting our culture. That's our job. Nobody will do it for us. However, if you want to use the medium of film, then you had better learn the proper way film works, the language of film, and speak in that language to communicate your own ideas. I think I've.
I
Yes.
just want to feel like some people who are also professionals still abuse this this format. Like
Okay.
I'll state an example, like the Death and the King's Oscar, the election that was turned into film.
Yeah.
It was done by a renowned director, but the story was not by my understanding or perception. The story was not told as an African story. It was told like an English film kind
Yeah,
of production.
yeah.
If you put that side by side with this Adebayo movie on Netflix, that was told like an African story.
Yeah.
Jagu Jagu,
Yeah, Jagu
Jagu
Jagu.
Jagu. So you can, and those are two African stories, but one was done like a foreign, was given a foreign approach, while the other was treated like, oh, I can relate more as an African with the way the Jagu Jagu story was told, more than
That other one.
yes. So and these were done by two professionals, two renowned filmmakers. So in that, how do we put that? How do we appreciate that effort?
All right. Beautiful question. So it goes this way. Um, my name is. Let me help us. It's not too long. It's only 13 letters. I didn't need that. Now, KJ would choose to call me Ademi. Yeah? And somebody could choose to call me Dakomala. Yeah, in fact, me as a person, I actually skip Big Bob and I call myself Damola. I don't know if I'm complicated. Yeah? Are they all my names? Are all of these my names? Yes, they are.
Good service.
What influences what he calls me is what we call his preference. Okay? So I understand what you're saying perfectly. I'm coming back to that. I'm coming from another angle. Okay, not to cancel what you said, but just to show us how twisted and nuanced this thing can be. So preference says I can do what I want. Actually, some call it creative license. Yeah, which is a little different from the original concept I was teaching, which is learning film as a language to pass across a message, to tell whatever story you want to tell. After you've learned film as a language, you can now determine what story you want to tell. Either Shango, for example, I'm working with an idea of Shango in the 21st century. If Shango woke up in the 21st century, of course, the concept of the Yoruba deities is that most of them, more well, they didn't essentially die. Shade, all right. So what if some um give me a minute. Hello, yeah, morning, David. Go ahead.
Yes, and the food was good. Everything like that. The vocation dance group.
So, okay, what's your conclusion?
So what is the type of the group? What is that? I don't know.
Which course is it taking? Which course? Directing. The directing class.
Election.
You're running classes. For people who can't physically come, they are joining online. There are 3 people online right now. So if you can't do if distance won't allow him to do physical, and if he cannot do online, then maybe you should wait for the next batch. You get? Because classes are started as we speak, and if you still in the there's no way you can meet today's class. Do you get it? All right. Thank you for trying. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, very cool. You can choose to drive the car to wherever you want to go to. Your prerogative. Okay. So let me find the easy way to answer it so that we can move forward. How do I want to say this now? We don't always, it's one of the challenges I have with Nigerian films, Yoruba films especially. Although of late I think they are a little shifting from there. But if you watch a Yoruba film 10 years ago, this is how it will go. It will tell the story, and at the end of the film, it will tell you the message of the film. That's the reason why it is not good to do so and so. Have you learnt your lesson now? We preach. Film is not essentially a vehicle for preaching. We do that too often. We do it too much. Can you can you say you're gay without using your mouth to say it? That's what film is supposed to be. Show me your gay without saying it. Where did that come from? EFCC, ICPC. There's nobody there. But you get the idea, yeah. Same with passing across a message. Do you know that culture is a message, and culture could be many things. Number one, you could make a film to get younger Nigerians to appreciate their culture. You could make a film to make older Nigerians to have a sense of nostalgia, like when things were still culturally okay. You could make a film for people in the diaspora to remember what they've missed. You could make a film for people who are not even Africans to value African culture. And all of those four films might not have any sense. I'm not sure you get what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, culture is one thing, and then message is another. Or in this case, film. Okay, so what we're discussing here now is um, the with culture you're talking of things like settings, meaning locations and stuff, the wardrobe, the costumes, the period the film is set in. Is it 1920 film? Is it 1844 film? etc. All of those are the things that influence and showcase a particular culture, but they might not necessarily affect the message or the theme of the film. E.g., you could do a film set in 1424. Yeah, I'm not sure that's the year. The year Akin, what's the name of the former king of Lagos was dethroned, and then I think his cousin or brother became the king, and you could use that vehicle to tell a love story. It could be not focusing on the king himself, or it could be him, but another side of it. You're just telling the love story between him and the woman he finally married. But it is set in this period and in this setting. Now we know what the theme of the film is, different from the settings of the film. And it's also the reason why we should know film inside out. So you know what you want to say, how you want to say it, what doors you want to knock in the hearts of people, how you want them to perceive what it is you're doing. Like you should know from the get-go 100% the result and the impact you want to have. And sometimes all you want is just want people to laugh. Like even you don't say the film will make sense. And that's your goal. You don't want to do a film that makes sense, you just want people to laugh. That could be your reason for doing the film. I don't know if we're on the same page. So the professional who did this book, you said, what's it called, adapted it to film. His goal might be showcasing African culture, reimagining it if it was in contemporary times. That might be his goal. Did he achieve the goal? Maybe, maybe not. I haven't seen it. You might not think that should be the best way to do it, but it happens even in Hollywood and in contemporary media. They adapt books, and fans of the book would argue that that is not how they should have done it. And especially for books, okay, since we're on that topic now, let me just trash it before we go forward. It is a delicate matter adapting any form of literary work, any book. You know why? Because novels by their nature are very, very subjective. How do I mean? If in the film she walks in and she comes late, she wears a black top on a ripped jeans, all of us watching the film, are we going to see the fine girl with the black top and the ripped jeans? Are we all going to see the same girl? Are we all going to see the same T-shirt? Are we all going to see the same jeans? Yes. However, if it's in a novel, and as the writer, I describe her and what she's wearing, do you know it is not the same yellow girl you will see? Yellow girl you will see will be different from the yellow girl I will see. In fact, the book says tall. We will not see the same tall. What tall means to you is different from what tall means to me. Black shirt might mean something completely different. I might be thinking of a slim fitted shirt. You might be thinking of something much bigger. I don't know if you're getting where I'm.
Okay.
Novels are essentially subjective. It is your personality, your experiences that determines how you picture what you're reading. So what I see is not what you will see. So here's the problem: you have read a novel, and you have some certain vibes you got from the novel. I am the director. I have now also read the same novel, and I want to make it into a film. Do you think the vibes I will translate to be the same one you would have gotten?
No.
No. The vibes I get is what will determine what kind of film I make, separate from the vibes you will get. So we probably will not agree. I'll be saying that like this, I see, and you'll be like, no, now, guy, you fuck up now, and I like this. So adapting books, etc., is somewhat of a delicate matter. You would satisfy some people will just not agree. So that film could have been made into a period correct, like period not period specific, period appropriate film. You could have shown the pop culture appropriately, yet people might still disagree with the film, maybe in the message was passing across. You right now don't really agree with the contemporariness that they brought to the film. Am I right?
Not that I don't agree with it. I'm only trying to state an instance and also to follow up on
What
if
she was
it's
saying
an
about
African, yeah, if it's an African story, and we want to tell our story. Are we telling our story like you said, film education
from them or from
their point
us
of view or from our point
or
of view?
from our point of
And
view.
you said our stories are told in our own way. I understand if you are telling our story with the knowledge of film, which means that you are using the same equipment, but the approach might be cultural and us to us.
Exactly.
So, but what I saw in the instance that I made is it's an approach that was done in for the contemporary time.
Yes.
But the story still carry the period and that message.
Okay.
It's different when you are telling a Yoruba story and you are speaking English and you are mixing it up with Yoruba. And you are telling a Yoruba story and you are actually speaking Yoruba.
Like call
Yoruba.
or
So,
Yoruba.
so you need the viewers to either use the subtitle to define and find their meaning to it, or you just try to let them know that imagine that these people are speaking Yoruba, but it's English that they are.
Exactly.
So that's what I was trying to do.
Okay. But I think we're on the same page now. Yeah. You wanted to
So I
say
just want to just contribute to that from my own idea. And I also the post now. I'm not what it's good moving. I saw the election, I also agree. But just the way you mentioned the English, that's what I don't understand. But I feel the difference between the two, that and the this one, is just production or set design kind of. That looks different.
I'm not saying it's true. So
Because if you look at the whole set design from that, every scene has the whole African, but for the Osman, there's a different combination of the
The
foreign.
same for the Osman, because the Osman, they took us back to the pre-colonial, and that was also depicted. I'm not saying that they are bringing it to the present. They also did the same thing.
Then you say something about October. They did something.
October one is contemporary.
I've seen election. I just saw the post.
Let's see the movie.
Yeah.
So October one has an NYSC scene in it. So that is today. Election bar is a pre-colonial era when before independence. Jagu is not even periodic. It is just an imaginary Yoruba film. It doesn't have a specific. The names they are fictional, but you can tell that this is an African story. That's the angle I was trying to.
I want to like speak further on what you said. Two things on that election. But two, one, perspective. You know, it's a one opposition production.
Yeah.
You know how I think she really influenced. She likes her things being very classy, too visual. I think it affected that production too. And secondly, the interpretation of the director on that script. I think I've done the play as a stage production that election over so many times. That the director's perspective and Abudu's influence on
As a
that.
producer.
Yes, as a she likes you know what I'm saying.
Wow.
She likes
Wow, man.
so it came into the production.
Okay,
You
okay.
understand?
I think I get what she's saying
And
now.
the director
I've not seen the film. If I have, I'll be able to confirm or not. But I think I get what
she's
she's
like
saying.
that, yeah. And
I think I get what she's
influenced
saying.
the movie. And the director's I don't know the director, who's the director?
Is what was his name? I can't remember.
Male or female?
Is a male. He's dead now. The guy
Okay, yeah.
he died last year too, before the premiere of the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
What's his name? He's a popular.
He's on
He's on bread, yeah.
His
Yeah, that's it.
name is in my head. It will come out. He too is
He's
foreign.
he's foreign trained. So
He's
but he's
affects-
Nigerian.
he
So he
affects
brought
their
that
culture.
culture
Yes.
into.
They have made
Same
it.
for October one, nice October one. See, now October one, when you said like English, somebody says English, all English and Yoruba for Yoruba children, always speaking a mixture of English and Yoruba. For that October one, where is a mixture of English and it's behind the scene. Majority of the people behind the scene, camera and everything, they are white guys. I do barely see black in this behind the scene.
No,
Okay.
I don't have issue with the production quality. You know, we're talking about film education, so I'm trying to see how, now we have three instances. You have the situation whereby you have to use your Yoruba and English. You have the situation whereby you just speak your dialect completely in the movie. And you have a situation whereby you are doing a Yoruba or a cultural movie and you speak English. For people to just think that and imagine that it is their language you are speaking because you are dressed as Yoruba. So in film education now, how do we place these approaches as producers and directors if we are actually working towards this field?
All right. So now I intentionally allowed all of us to chime in. I'm kind of using that as like a gauge to know and feel where we are in this big picture, in this ocean called filmmaking. Okay, so that I could get some measure of feelers. Okay, and the number of questions we have now, I don't think this is the best time to answer them, or else we will not move forward. Okay, most of the questions will be answered in the course of the class, or rather, you will see things from another perspective and another angle as we proceed in this class. I don't know if you get what it is I'm saying. Okay, so I tell trainees this. I'll kind of hint at the same. Whatever it is you know about filmmaking up until now, choose to forget it. Okay, come with an empty cup so that you can fill it up. If your cup is already full, how much you can't take much into it anymore. Okay, so number one is I appreciate that you guys, because this industry called film is the most bewildering industry ever. Especially in Nigeria here. Except for video editing and cinematography. Those are the only two I know that individuals have this sense of, okay, I need to go before I can do. Very few people will say I want to edit without learning how to edit. Well, now that there is mobile phones and there are apps on phones, people are now beginning to jump into editing, but not film editing. When they call themselves editor, they know what they are saying. They cannot attempt to edit a film with a mobile phone. Let's be clear about that. Okay? So most people who want to edit films know they need to go learn somewhere, whether attach it to a video editor, whether go to a school to learn it, but they know they need to learn. Same with camera handling. But you see every other area of film. it is well. Especially acting. The moment you are bold and you can stand in front of people, for your mind, you don't become actor. And people don't see a need to actually hone their craft and polish whatever it is they have, even if it's some potential there, or you should polish it to make sure that you can deliver. There was this time when in the industry, Nollywood, they banned some actors and actresses because they were too big for the industry, and some of them decided to ply their trades outside of the country. And then reality hits them. They didn't know how to act. They were our queens, and whatever word you can use to describe them here. But they got outside of the country and they realized that whatever it is they were doing in Nigeria was trash. It was not acting. Let me shock you. There are very few actors in Nigeria. Very, very few. There are some, no doubt. But the number of people you can actually call actors who are what they are sold, you can count them on two fingers. They are not up to 10. You can't do a top 10 list of actors in this country. I'm sorry, we function in this industry and all of that. I
Can
know.
I say something?
So this just a second. This is not to um, talk down, speak down, rubbish the industry. Don't get me wrong. Don't. See, the only reason why we are here speaking grammar today is because there's an industry.
Yes.
If those folks have not been doing what they've been doing the last 20 years or so, we will not be here speaking the grammar we are speaking. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Because filmmaking is not easy. To make a bad film is not easy. How much more to make a good film? So that folks have been doing this the last 2-3 decades and will be sitting down to watch this, they should be commended. Let's get that first out the door. Having said that, if the only thing you see, for example, if all you see to what Tinubu is doing now is he can change, he can. I don't know what that man could do before now. I don't know what capacity he had before now. But what I see in this country today, Baba should have gone to rest. Okay? You could be an ardent Tinubu fan, but to be sensible to just say things right now could have been done better. Same with the film industry. Like, they've done a great job so far, but if you want to grow, you need to come to that place of what we have is not good enough. I can be better, or else you will just be same old, same old. And what we will turn out to just be like the same old stuff we've been turning out up until now. So when I say this statement, it is not from disparaging practitioners. It is to get those who are coming up to see that, okay, I can actually do better than this. Full stop. I just wanted to make that very, very clear. I respect the work that has gone ahead of us, okay? But we that are coming next, we should do better. Simple.
I was trying to call somebody like Vincent.
Okay.
Vincent is
Yeah.
a great actress.
Sure.
I've worked with her a couple of times, and when she acts, you feel the character, because she's a very, very in-depth character. I know I learned so much from her. So actually, it's about the few I know that are very, very good. That's why I wanted to just say that.
So in our acting classes, one of the things I do is I give them a basic exercise. Two of them. Number one is the shower exercise. Well, take a stand. You're taking a shower, whatever form, whether it's running a shower or using bowl and whatever. All right, so you are undressed, you're in the shower, you're ready to take a bath. Action. And in the last 3-4 years that I've been doing this, and over 200 people have attempted it, only 2 or 3 people have gotten a little close to what it is I'm looking for. Out of about 200 aspiring actors. Okay, so what exactly am I looking for? It's called sense recall. Yeah? An actor should be in the moment, and while they're in the moment, they should be able to recall what doing this particular activity feels like. You know, if you ask anybody what is acting, they'll say it's make believe, it's pretending to. You know, it's not. The first way to fail in acting is to believe that acting is pretending to do something. When you're acting, you're doing it for real. You're not pretending to do it. The moment the first thing you're doing is pretending to do it, you have failed. Wait, Jojo is not here because she's a trained actor. She studied theater art, and I wanted to run this by her. So, the arts, music, dance, drama, yeah, or acting. Shibi, if you see somebody playing music on the keyboard, dun, 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 as in you see him doing what he's doing, and you hear the music, you know you appreciate him for what he's doing. Yeah, you see him doing it, and you see the result of what he's doing, and you appreciate his art. Makes sense, Abi? Come, let's come to dance. You see somebody dancing, and you see the result of the dance. You see him doing the act, and you see the result of the act. He communicates with you. Okay, let's come down here. So we've done this, we've done this. Let's come here. When we see you doing the act, which is acting, you have failed. Acting is supposed to be transparent. The moment we see you acting, you have failed. So how are you supposed to act without acting?
Obey yourself.
Are you getting it? That is the very first place almost everybody misses it. Because the moment you say action, they start acting. And the moment you are acting, you have messed up. Oh, okay. Come to English and they say anywhere they say something is acting up, acting, it's always in describing something bad. They don't use acting to describe something good. Meaning the moment you see you acting, you start messing up. Do you get the very basics of it?
Yeah.
Meaning that anybody who wants to actually learn acting, the first thing they have to do is unlearn whatever they thought they knew about acting. All of this pretending to be somebody, throw it out the window. First of all, and then come and fill up. But this is not an acting class. Although in the directing class we will touch on acting. Okay? Because you cannot direct actors if you don't have the basic understanding of what actors are supposed to do in the first instance. You should understand their process, such that if an actor is now not delivering, you know how to nudge them in the right direction. Oh, believe me, on this journey, if you're a good director, you'd essentially be an acting coach on set. Because your actors will probably not give you what you intend for them to give to you. And backing instructions is not going to get you the results you want to get in. So what do? You turn to coach. Then you're like, okay, hold on. So in this scene, what's your character's motivation? Okay. Big inclusive, seductive, inviting. Okay? Alright, so let's help them break it down into the simplest words, actionable verbs that they can act upon. Whether they're doing it too much or too little, so you can help them deliver the right performance that you want them to.
Great.
How did we even get here? I wanted to talk about what we cover in the producing class and the directing class before we come back to film education. Because I just remember that I was going to start class without even giving us a clue as to what we're doing in each of these classes. Okay, so before I talk about what we'll even cover in the producing class, what is most important to me is what we will become at the end of the producing class. So let's start from here. There's a construction school in this building. Yeah, and one of the courses is mason. From where the word mason comes from, which I hear is not a very beautiful word, the masons. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. So masonry. Now masonry has several areas of specialization inside of it. Brick or block making, the making part of it. So people who make blocks, etc., or who make bricks, the red ones, different from bricklayer. Your regular bricklayer who takes the bricks or the blocks to make a house, yeah, you would have tilers, part of the same guys, and the list goes on and on. People who do different stuff. Yeah. Problem is here, the only thing we seem to know is this guy. But there's a whole industry in and around missing. Are we getting where I'm going to?
Perfect.
It's the same thing with producing and directing. They are industries, so to speak. We see only the director, we see only the producer. Believe me, if you know how many other job roles are available in the producing department. So let's start from there. Okay? So I'm making a film. I assemble it. I would have a producing or a production department. And of course, a production office. Who are the staff, the individuals who work in this production office? I mean, the department as a whole. Of course, the producer is number one on the list. You'll be surprised to know that, unlike the Nigerian definition of executive producer, the executive producer is actually under the producer in Sena clients. Okay, simple explanation. So, a TV studio, Universal or 21st century, okay, in this case, Netflix, yeah, they are commissioning you to make a film. Just like they did with Kole Afolayan, and they gave him, was it 300 million back then? No, it wasn't naira, it was in dollars. There was a certain figure they gave him to make 5 films. Yeah? Anybody knows? It's been, I just saw that news in passing back then. They gave him a certain lump sum to make a certain number of films. Good. If you are the studio and he is Kole Afolayan, would you carry the money and give to him and say, just come and give us a film when you're done? How do you supervise him?
Through people monitoring.
People who monitor him. Who are the people that monitor him? Producers. So the studio attaches an executive from the studio to his production. So that person is seconded from our company to your company. The person representing the studio, in this scenario, not every scenario, in this scenario where a studio is involved and the studio is the one sponsoring the project you're working on, they send somebody from their studio to be attacked the executive producer. Different from our own concept of executive producer here in independent productions, where this is the person you source the funds for your film from. But you know it's not different. Do you know why it's not different? Difference is you're not sourcing money from this person, but this person is representing where you sourced the money from. Do you know it's still the same thing? In one case, it's an individual who will carry money give you, executive producer. In the other is the company that gives you the money, and now they send a representative to work with you in administering and spending the money. It's still the same thing. But in this case, this person is not sitting on your head. Monitoring, but this person is not above you. Back in the day, the executive producer was above the producer in many ways and one. The executive producer can determine the face that will be inside the film, can determine the story. I'm the one dropping money, and back then it was the marketers. The marketers hold reign, they hold supreme back then. They reign supreme, they never change. Do you get it? Okay, so, but anyways, I just wanted us to know, like, to start seeing all the different people who work on production teams. Yeah. All right, and then we have the different levels of producers, associate producers, co-producer, etc. Yeah. These are roughly close to this guy, but they are not on the same level as this guy. This is the chief executive of the firm. I'll talk about them in a minute, but let's continue. Then we come to um, those who work on a day-to-day. So there are three of them. Depending on how you look at it, they are all the same, but they are not the same either. Let me make the list. So at the top of the list, you have the line producer, you have the unit production manager, and the production manager. Now, these three individuals do more or less the same thing.
So it came for a series.
Yes, exactly. Series producer. Okay. So, okay. So your series producer will be somewhere here between depending on the arrangement with the what's it called? You know, the independent productions have kind of made the lines blurry now. In Sailor Climbs, you have a specific chain of command from the studio who's commissioning. You know, no series goes uncommissioned. All things being equal. The question is, in Nigeria, how many series are commissioned? Do you get where I'm coming from? Only those from major studios get commissioned. Almost every series is independent. And that's the challenge we have. So we kind of use names and words discriminately, not just in the industry, Nigeria as a whole. So because it's independent, people just chalk whatever name to whatever catches their fancy, different from how things should flow and work. But let me just make this list and then I'll come back to addressing them one by one. Okay, production manager. So like I said, all of this, depending on if it's a small budget or a big budget production. If it was a big budget production, you'd have a line producer after the producer, meaning after the range of producers. Okay, so like you can draw a line between these guys and these other guys. Where these ones are the ones who actually function as producers. I'll come to explain all of that grammar. And these are the ones who do the work for the producers, so to speak. Okay, if it's a big budget production or if it is a series, you'll have a line producer. If it is not a series, you probably won't even have a line producer in the first instance. If there's a line producer, then these two guys will report to the line producer. If there isn't, then the work of this guy is collapsed into the work of just this guy. Small budget productions have only a production manager. And by the way, almost every film in Nigeria is a independent budget production. Let's remind you. So by definition, any film lower than $20 million is considered a low budget production in the US. Anything lower than $20 million, change it to naira. Change it to naira. I'm not playing. 20 million to naira. Is that 20 billion? True. It's 20 billion. Can you see that every Nigerian film is a low budget production? We just garnish it with big names. Okay, in the big scope of things, what we do is essentially low budget productions, even the biggest of the big studios. Okay, so but having said that, that's also not correct in the sense that the naira wasn't always like this.
Yes, value prop.
For example, somebody made over a billion naira at the box office. Yeah. But if you compare it to 2 years ago, it actually is not. If you convert it to naira, let's put it this way: the naira equivalent of the highest grossing film 2 years ago, and the dollar equivalent of the highest grossing film today. Do you think this film will still be highest grossing film
No,
in dollars?
no,
Possibly not.
never again.
Wait, this is not to take away from the film or the maker of the film. Please always let's be very, very clear about this. When I speak, it is just addressing issues, not people. In fact, there was a time I had a crazy idea some 5, 7 years ago. I should let us say that now. That's so I was going to talk about that in associate producer. And I wanted to write a film and approach okay, I can delay that. Like just put your name to this. Like take the film, own it, be the producer, be the owner. We will do everything to do the film. And for all the money that comes from it, you the only thing we want, written by, shot by, edited by, full stop. Sounds crazy, I mean. But do you know the meaning of that currency if you shot a Funke Akindele film?
Yeah.
I'm talking about this was like 7, 8, 10 years ago. I don't know if you get the drift
Yeah.
because there's something I've seen that is lost in today's industry. Our over love for money and hustle is killing some of the basic tendencies that you need to grow and survive. There's a Yoruba proverb that if you don't, it's the person that pours water on the ground that steps on the wet ground. You want to walk on wet, marshy ground, you pour water. Pour water. Will it cost you to pour water? Yes. Do you want to walk on wet, marshy ground? Yes, we are going to pour water.
Thank you.
Ẹ tó bá máa tẹ̀lé tútù ajá mi síwájú. Ẹ tó bá máa tẹ̀lé tútù ajá mi síwájú. You know, okay. How many of us have been producing again? Let me see how much. 1, 2, 3. Producing here 4. Okay, you're the one doing solely directing, directing and producing. Okay. So of course, you're coming to business school. Just in case you don't know, producing school is business school. It's just business of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know, the class you came to is essentially a business school, but specifically for filmmaking. Okay? Do you know how money is made in the world today? That topic is far from the business school. No, it sits right in the middle of the business school. Yeah, cool. So how do you make money in today's world? Do you know? Almost every big corporation is founded on a certain principle.
Investment.
Huh?
Investment.
Investment. Freemium. Do you have a Google account? A Gmail account? Did you pay for it? You said no. But do you know people don't pay for their Gmail account? Do you have a LinkedIn account? You don't have a LinkedIn account. You should go and open one today. Did you pay for that LinkedIn account? No. But do you know people pay for LinkedIn accounts? Good. Do you play Candy Crush? Have you ever played Candy Crush before?
Yeah.
Did you pay to play the game? But do you know people pay to play that game? But one thing is the reason why Nigeria is where Nigeria is. We love free things. Jai. Too much. So much so that when they released the 5 list countries, list countries in the world, Nigeria is somewhere among the top 5. Or is it the bottom 5? Which one? Do you know why? Because if this is how the world earns money, which is give everybody something for free and get and introduce premium features and get the premium features. Meaning, enjoy our service for free. But if you want these certain premium features, you have to pay for it. Nigerians don't ever pay for premium features. Never, even on Tinder. I don't understand. Why that specific after now? Who has used Tinder here? Who has not used Tinder here before? There's a lot of good people in my class. That's good. That's impressive. Very, very impressive. But you know what Tinder is? It's a dating app. Okay? And it has certain features that makes you more visible. Okay? Those features are paid for. You will not see any Nigerian pay for it, except for Anudoshu. You know that one, she knows she's doing business. Different. But normal user, never. Is the reason why Nigeria is rated least. Why? Because those businesses thrive on the few people, not many, sometimes just 2%, sometimes 0.2% that will pay for the premium product. So if you have, how many users does WhatsApp have? About 2 billion monthly users. If you have 2 billion users, if 0.2% of them pay $15, do you know how much that is? What's 1% of 2 billion? Let's start from there. That's more than a million. That's like a million. Yeah? 1% of 20 million. So 0.2 would be like 2 million. Yeah? So that's 2 million people paying $15 per month every month. Do you know how they make their billions now? But then, of course, we know that there will be 99.8% that will not pay. How come that every Nigerian falls in this figure and no Nigerian falls in this figure? Do you think he'll take you serious? That's why the world doesn't take Nigeria serious. Just in case you're wondering. We have a poverty mentality. So one, we don't create stuff for free. Two, we don't pay for premium services. That is our problem. I want you to start thinking about it now. And every time you go online, just start evaluating free services and premium services and start looking at your habits concerning those things. And then start thinking of how can I get people to pay for premium services if I was to use that same medium. Because the truth about it is this. If you want to reach the 1 billion mark in this life, manufacturing can't do it for you anymore. Manufacturing already has kings, the Dangote, the Big Way, and co. It will be difficult for anybody now to start a new company and topple Dangote, true or false. And to make $1 billion in an industry, you have to topple the leader in that industry. There are some industries that they are set in stone. You don't get it. So if you are not doing manufacturing, you're not doing what's medicals, what's it called? Pharmacy, big pharma. You're not doing oil. How can you make $1 billion? Premium. You have to come up with a service that everybody will use for free, and some people will pay for it. How do you find those some people that will pay for it?
So recently, by adding some incentives
Okay.
that are attractive.
Just
Recently,
a
I noticed that some of these skit makers, usually they just make their skits and throw it online. But these days, they just throw snippets now that will now lead you into their YouTube page.
Yes, that's the way now.
Yeah.
So what pays the YouTube?
Yeah, there's a partner program in YouTube.
They also have the option of partnering with companies or something. Like who sponsor it.
We'll get to that place when it comes to monetizing content. Yes. Which is the different ways you can make money from a piece of content. Yes. But let me even play devil's advocate. So why do you think they do it?
Well, like you said, you give you give an avenue for people to get to experience.
Okay, gated content. I get where you're coming from now. So you give them something for free. If you want the rest, go to this place. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. We get the picture, yeah?
Yes.
All right. So, board is now white rough. Let me try, the need to. Okay. So, other than these guys, you now have the production coordinator, location manager, logistics. Here you're talking driver, etc. Anybody who fits in the logistics department. Okay. Um, welfare. Some people would argue that this is not directly under the direction. So maybe I should remove the welfare and put it on its own, what's it called? And then you have the production accountant. You have legal. And should there be a what's it called? A health or safety office. All of these guys exist under the production office. Meaning, if you learn to be a producer, you can function as any of these guys. Remember how we started? That is an industry on its own, producing. It's not just one role. It's not just because the only thing we see is producer. Everybody wants to be a producer. Okay? But if you're done with learning here, yeah, um, what if we work up a internship arrangement with Ebony Life Studios for you, where you can go do internship there for 2 or 3 months? What would you work there as a producer? Their newest blockbuster film is you they will give to be the producer and helm their affairs. Shibi, you get it. So you go up the ladder. If you start off as a did I put production assistant there?
Yes.
Yes.
Where is it? There's no production assistant on
You're
that.
supposed to be the last person after health.
Just don't worry. The production assistant where he dey. That's where he's supposed to be. Is the dredge or the bottom of the pot.
The runners.
Exactly. All right.
House boy.
Okay. So, but funny enough, even me, I started off as a production assistant until so. So, yeah. It can be a good thing if it's approached properly. If not, because if all you see is the work you're doing and the money you're collecting, and that is you just continue in the right ways and you don't grow. If there is no purpose, there's no vision, and if there's no this is why I'm doing what it is I'm doing, you just tire out making money, and how much is the money? So collecting coins, etc. Okay, but do we get the big picture? Good. So this is what I'm going to. During the course of this training, the first 1 week, we'll learn all there is to producing a film. We'll learn what each of these roles do, such that if you were to find yourself in any of these roles, you will know what to do. Why? Because you will find yourself in each of these roles. How do I mean? So the first production we could do, you could be the producer, and you could be the production manager, and you could be the production coordinator, the location manager, and then the next production would swap roles.
Also.
But you will and must touch each of the roles. You must function as a location manager on at least one film. You must function as a production manager on at least one film. I don't know if you get the picture. Hello, guys. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's for acting, I think. No problem. Consult acting. You know we have wisdom for acting. So get her to talk to you so that I can send her details. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So let's move on to directing. Roughly the same thing for producing, same also for directing. Is an industry has several roles that you work in. My an essay, assume the character. Okay. The live streaming is breaking frequent.
From the
That
person's connection.
yeah, but hopefully is recording. So
That's why commentary is important.
but at least I think they are.
So the experience is one.
For those of us who are online, do you have any questions? Well, I'll attend to them. Okay. All right. Directing. Jesus is Lord. I skipped out on one office. Do not have.
What is he doing there, sir?
It's
Yeah.
not very
That's okay. But what is he doing there?
I can come in.
Come in, sir.
Okay.
Come and explain yourself.
Okay. So, contrary to popular opinion, the assistant director is not the same as the director to the assistant. And the assistant director is most times a production related role, not a director related role. It is not creative, it is administrative. Remember, the producing department is for administering the film. I mean, every administrative thing that goes into making the film. So this guy actually fits in both departments. Like to be an assistant director, you actually need to know enough about directing, but this is your core. Good tip. Who are those who break down the script? One of the things we focus on is the development stage of filmmaking. There are 5 stages of film: development, pre-production, production, post-production, marketing, and distribution. Don't worry, we'll get to that. We've not started that class. But when the development stage is where you take the script and break it down into its elements to know how to plan for, how to schedule, what you need to shoot, and all of that. Planning for the film is what the development stage is for. And the first thing we do is we break down the script. 2 guys are at the top of breaking down the script. Do you know who these 2 people are? Sir? Director,
Assistant director.
assistant director. The production manager and the assistant director are the 2 individuals who are most, important in breaking down what's it called. Let me put it this way: the 2 of them are at the same office, just 2 sides of the same coin. The production manager is involved, is responsible for everything required to make this shoot work. The sets, the logistics, the anything that you require to do the shoot, the props, the production manager. Everybody required to make these sets work, assistant director. So the assistant director is, for example, responsible for the call sheet. He's the one who makes sure that every actor,
You see the PM.
assistant director is not around. Once the assistant director brings them, he dumps them on the set. Who takes charge of the set? PM.
PM administers them to make them work and fix the set. I don't know if you get this now. It is not the PM's job to get actors from hotel to come to set. That's the assistant director's job. It is not the assistant director's job to make sure that the actors are where they are supposed to be. That's the production manager's job. Let me put it this way. Anything inanimate, okay, I think I've crossed it a bit. So anything inanimate, non-living thing required to make a film work on set, production manager. Anything living, especially people, required to make that same set work, assistant director. I don't know if when we get to the nitty-gritty, it will make more sense. But what I'm going to is the two of them are essentially the same roles, but they cover different aspects of the same role. Let me give us another side to it. The assistant director is essentially a mole. Do you remember what the executive producer is to the producer? The definition I gave us of executive producer to producer, this be a studio funding your production. What did I say the executive producer is?
Representative.
Is the representative of the studio attached to your production. This is the representative of the producer attached to the director. Does that make some sense now? This is how we will get it. The job of the producer is threefold. One, get money to make film. Two, make the film, but on budget and on schedule. Why? The moment you exceed schedule, you will break budget. Three, sell the film for a profit. This, you can break down what a producer does into these three things. Everything else finds somewhere in between to shoot itself. Putting together the team, all of it goes here. Getting money, taking it to the cinemas, distribution. You get the picture? Good. So, my job as producer, I have 2 million to make this film. Our budgeter will be on location for 10 days. Meaning, we'll rent hotel 10 days, we'll rent equipment 10 days, we'll get welfare to cook 2 meals for them for 10 days. I'm paying the actors and negotiating for them. Either 10 days, 2 days, 5 days, depending on how many days they spend on location and all of that and all of that. You know that everything is on the shiro now. Like I've calculated and I've drawn up a budget based on the schedule. Yeah, and then director is like, and this explosion team, like we can make it. We'll just go and get 4 cars.
So go beyond the budget.
Uncle director. So, anyways, the job of the assistant director is to help curtail the over-visioning of the director, so that it does not overshoot the budget.
Got it.
So the assistant director is like the one who's seeming to be assisting the director, but is essentially assisting the producer. Why? So that we don't overshoot the budget, we don't go overdo the schedule. Do we get the idea now? So of course he is hired by the producer to assist the director, make the director's life easy. One thing we don't know is it's the assistant director that screams action. Most times it's not even the director. But in Nigeria here, you want to collect that one from director. Do you know that's the only job that director does on set? I'm not the one that said it. But there are some directors in this industry that don't know, they are weightless. They are paper. The only thing they know how to do is scream action. Cameraman will come. So director, where should we? How are we taking these shots? Where do you think is the best place to? The director instruct me. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. So he's leaving it to you. So if camera operator no good, things don't fuck up. Same with the lighting, same with everything else. He's just there essentially, quote and unquote, as artistic director to direct the actors. Oh yeah, direct the actors too. And so yeah, you are angry. Be angry. No, really, that is directing actors. Be angry. Be angry. He's directing. Ah,
What kind? What level? What?
hey, hey,
Wow.
hey. Yeah, wow. Say that again. Uh, if we say, never, no, no, if you, if you, leave it on generator, leave it on Oh, but you are asking people to never, that was your experience.
I can't try
No, no,
this.
leave it on.
To work.
See, hands-on.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll say that this is coming in 3 days.
and then they want it on.
I'll miss.
Yes, where's the rest? Oh, there's a rest. They are there,
Ooh, okay.
Jen is acting up, who is considering 20 minutes. I want to buy. What time is it, sir? I want to buy us as much time as possible. Okay. So let me make a list of the
Director.
director. Yeah.
What are you using the light for?
Fine.
Fan.
Comfort.
Essentially the fine.
It's very, very soft.
So 5 days. Wait.
Honestly, Nigerian man, she's yeah, I'm very, very good
Yeah, but it's just that sometimes I find it,
at it.
to get the maximum, it makes sense to get the understand the basic.
That's I don't know the best is
Working with a team is like perfect. Because there's only so much you can do. I've worked on, I said one screenplay like that, that okay, the director was the writer, was the editor.
from
I mean, he did his best, he came up, but, and it was also the actor. But when he acted, because he was exactly, and it wasn't that he wasn't a good actor, it just makes his way more
stress. And the thing that what I'm looking at is some people have ideas, they try to know lighting and all that. But we know
you get, yeah, what more on directing, but you might get more on directing, but still,
what is all about the age now?
it's not really something because the money passes the use of it all.
Yes. Because I have a question that we can get some money from planning itself. Because I would like to work with people. I want to support myself. I just want to make money.
Exactly.
Make money, you know.
Because I feel like for the most part, it's most people get in without understanding the finance side.
Yes. I mean, you stuff and you don't know how to fix it out. Yes.
They don't even profit.
Yes, just have videos everywhere and you don't know how to do it. But this one, I think this one is very important. You need